The shimmering crystal chandeliers of the Golden Tide in San Francisco could mask many secrets, but tonight they illuminated a brutal reality I'd been avoiding. Sometimes the ghosts of your past don't just haunt you. They can deliver a crushing blow in your moment of comfort. I halted mid-stride as the hostess guided me through the dining room, the melodic jazz tunes and dinner chatter melting into white noise in my head. A familiar, cutting voice pierced through the ambience. "Jasper Kane, how unexpected to find you dining here. Shouldn't you be frequenting those shabby establishments in Oakland?" My chest tightened, the water glass in my grip quivering as I pivoted to confront the voice. "Serena Voss, my former spouse." She reclined at a secluded table, her designer black dress catching the ambient light. A calculated smile etched across her features. Beside her sat a portly gentleman of advanced years, his fingers adorned with gaudy gold rings, exuding an air of affluence and detachment. Her words landed like a physical blow, stirring up memories I'd fought to suppress, each word dripping with the familiar poison I remembered well. Just as I struggled to form a response, my phone vibrated against my leg. A text from Harper, my current partner, lit up the screen. "Be there soon. Stay strong, darling." I lifted my gaze, noticing Serena's eyes constrict as she observed the slight smile forming on my face. She shifted forward, her expression predatory, as if sensing the discomfort radiating from me. The space seemed to constrict, the atmosphere grew heavier, and I realized this meeting wasn't mere coincidence. Something more sinister lurked beneath her polished exterior. Before we continue this intense narrative, drop a comment telling us where you're following from. Don't forget to subscribe if you're enjoying the story. Now, back to our tale. The story began in Seattle, a metropolis pulsing with technological innovation and perpetual drizzle. I was a newly graduated software developer, eager to leave my mark on the world. That's when Serena entered my life. She commanded attention at a healthcare app symposium, her self-assurance captivating, her intellect razor-sharp. We connected immediately over espresso, sharing tales of midnight coding sessions and aspirations of launching a revolutionary startup. She excelled in marketing while I handled development, and together we envisioned an app revolutionizing patient-doctor connections. Those initial months were intoxicating. We'd spend evenings by Lake Washington, her nestled against me, mapping our path to success. Within 2 years, we exchanged vows in an intimate ceremony, making lifelong promises. I believed we were invincible. Then fate intervened with devastating precision. My father suffered a severe stroke, and my carefully constructed life in Seattle crumbled like a house of cards. I resigned from my position, packed my belongings, and relocated to Sacramento to become his caregiver. His trembling hands could barely grasp utensils, and my days became an endless cycle of managing his medications, doctor's appointments, and whatever remote programming work I could secure. Serena remained in Seattle, vowing to maintain our shared vision from a distance. During our late-night conversations, her voice distorted through the connection. She'd promised we'd overcome this challenge. I'd share stories of Dad's small achievements, like regaining his speech enough to pronounce my name, while she'd detail her meetings with potential investors. But gradually our calls grew briefer. Her excuses multiplied. "Work's overwhelming, Jasper. I'll visit when things settle." Time crawled by, and I found myself isolated in that cramped Sacramento flat, staring at lines of code while Dad slumbered nearby, the burden of responsibility weighing heavily upon me. One evening, the phone's ring carried an ominous tone before I even answered. Serena's voice emerged mechanical and distant, as if reciting a memorized speech. "Jasper, this relationship isn't sustainable anymore. I've connected with someone. Malcolm. He's a significant investor who understands my vision. You're impeding my progress." My heart constricted, the world tilting as her words registered. She wasn't merely ending our marriage. She was claiming everything. Our startup concept, the product of our shared dreams, now belonged solely to her. I remained frozen, phone in hand, listening to the deafening silence post-call. Months later, I discovered it online. Health Vantage, her enterprise, built upon our application, our shared vision, funded by Malcolm's wealth, with her name dominating every article. She'd effectively erased my existence from the narrative. The pain consumed me entirely. Each morning brought Dad's labored coughing, my laptop's glow illuminating countless unfinished assignments, while her betrayal's sharp sting lingered persistently. I had entrusted her with everything, my aspirations, my innovations, only to watch her exchange our partnership for a wealthier path to success. The following weeks passed in a haze of minimal sustenance and restless nights, tormented by the future we'd envisioned together. The isolation felt crushing, caught between hospital visits and a seemingly stagnant career. Yet one evening, watching Dad's weakened form battle for recovery, something within me transformed. I refused to let her victory be complete. Relocating to Oakland, I embraced freelance opportunities and gradually began reconstructing my life. Step by step, I emerged from the devastation she'd created, resolved to build something beyond her reach. From this wreckage emerged HealthSync, my own application designed to assist patients like Dad in managing their healthcare. Though it began modestly with just myself and a computer, it was entirely mine. I vowed Serena would never again influence either the project or myself. That evening at the Golden Tide, beneath the shimmering lights with her confident smirk from across the room, I recognized this wasn't coincidence. She deliberately sought me out, and our story wasn't concluded. Harper's message provided comfort in my pocket, preventing me from losing composure. I stood taller, matching Serena's gaze. Whatever scheme she harbored, I'd evolved beyond the man she'd abandoned. Following that encounter at the Golden Tide, I departed with Harper beside me, her unwavering support anchoring me against Serena's emotional turbulence. San Francisco's landscape of steep inclines and boundless opportunities stretched before us, rekindling my inner drive. HealthSync had evolved beyond a mere project into my path to redemption. My journey from Oakland began with nothing but determination and a laptop, intent on creating something uniquely mine. Those initial months proved challenging, coding through nights in my modest studio, accompanied by the distant Bay Bridge traffic and screen-strained eyes. Each line of code helped heal the wound she'd inflicted, creating a solution for patients like Dad, failed by geographic barriers and timing constraints. HealthSync started as a basic platform connecting patients with remote physicians, but its popularity grew rapidly. Sacramento nurses tested early versions. Grateful families in Fresno sent messages of appreciation, and tech publications praised its innovations. By the time TechCrunch featured it as revolutionary, I finally felt vindicated. I'd succeeded independently. Then Serena resurfaced. Not physically initially. It began with a late-night notification, her name illuminating my screen like a distress signal. "Jasper, your application's media coverage caught my attention. Remarkable achievement for an independent developer. Shall we discuss?" My stomach twisted, every fiber of my being urging me to erase the message, yet intrigue persisted. She disappeared when HealthVantage flourished, abandoning me to struggle in Sacramento. Now her watchful gaze had returned. I arranged to meet her at an upscale coffee shop near the Embarcadero, where the bay sparkled beyond the windows, her footsteps echoing across the pristine floor as she made her entrance. She appeared more polished than before, her calculating gaze studying me as if I were a riddle she'd already deciphered. "You've evolved impressively, Jasper," she remarked, sipping her latte with an artificial smile. "HealthSync shows tremendous promise. Let's collaborate. I can secure its implementation across every medical facility nationwide." Her presentation was polished, well-practiced, offering the extensive reach I'd only imagined. I wavered, haunted by memories of her previous deception, but the prospect of expanding my impact, of demonstrating my growth beyond her influence, swayed my decision. I agreed. The subsequent weeks unfolded like a tornado. Serena activated connections I never knew existed, orchestrating meetings with hospital executives and venture capitalists. She'd breeze into my compact office, exuding confidence and expensive perfume, proposing strategies to integrate HealthSync into HealthVantage's extensive infrastructure. I'd work through nights modifying the application to meet her requirements, my hands racing across the keyboard, fueled by pure determination. Briefly, I convinced myself she'd transformed, that this transcended her personal ambition. She'd display her familiar charisma, reminiscing about our time in Seattle, occasionally drawing genuine smiles from me. Perhaps reconciliation was possible. Perhaps this marked a new beginning. Then inconsistencies emerged. She'd avoid my communications, postpone agreements with unclear justifications, her demeanor shifting from friendly to distant. I'd arrive at scheduled meetings only to find them withdrawn, her assistant offering apologetic gestures. Something felt amiss, though I couldn't identify the exact cause. The devastating revelation struck just 72 hours before our major launch. I was hunched over my desk, surrounded by empty coffee cups, fine-tuning a demonstration when Serena's message appeared. Concise. Devastating. Jasper. Change of plans. Health syncs terminated. Best wishes. I gazed at my monitor, my heartbeat thundering, shock morphing into horror. Within hours, my phone buzzed with breaking tech news. HealthVantage had launched a new capability, an exact replica of HealthSync's fundamental architecture, with Serena presenting it as her groundbreaking development. The situation worsened as online speculation intensified. Anonymous sources alleged I'd plagiarized her concept, branding HealthSync as an inferior imitation. Business associates I'd meticulously cultivated vanished instantly, their responses terse and irreversible. My inbox overflowed with distressed messages from my small workforce, our resources evaporating as allegations spread rapidly. I remained motionless, watching city lights blur together, my trembling hands scrolling through the devastation. She manipulated me. Once more, I roamed restlessly through my apartment, feeling trapped, each notification triggering fresh waves of anxiety. Harper discovered me in this state, embracing me as I struggled to articulate the catastrophe. She remained steadfast, listening intently, her composure penetrating my turmoil. "We'll navigate through this," she assured me, her tone unwavering. "You've got support." Yet isolation engulfed me, Serena's betrayal cutting deeper than before. She hadn't merely seized our venture years ago. She'd observed patiently, watched my reconstruction, then struck when success seemed imminent. This betrayal wasn't coincidental. It was deliberate, strategic, demonstrating her perpetual influence over my fate. I collapsed onto the sofa, fixated on the TechCrunch article illuminating my screen, her triumphant smile in the photograph. My application, my passionate creation, was disintegrating while she celebrated its downfall. But as Harper grasped my hand, determination stirred within me. This wasn't my conclusion, not even close. The aftermath of Serena's deception pushed HealthSync to the brink of collapse. My team worked frantically to preserve what remained, but the impact was devastating. Investors vanished without a trace. Users abandoned the platform, and my financial reserves diminished rapidly. From my San Francisco residence, enveloped by dense fog, I stared helplessly at spreadsheets filled with discouraging figures. Harper remained my anchor, her unwavering support sustaining me as I struggled to keep our vision alive. Then, unexpectedly, hope emerged. A message from Claudia Reyes appeared in my inbox one misty morning. As the CEO of Nexus Wellness, a prominent healthcare corporation in Los Angeles, she expressed interest in meeting. She discovered HealthSync, recognized its potential despite recent events, and envisioned incorporating it into her healthcare empire. My exhaustion gave way to anticipation as I absorbed her message. After bidding Harper farewell with a kiss, I embarked on the 6-hour journey south, the coastal highway streaming past my window. This opportunity could be our salvation. I entered Nexus headquarters, an impressive structure of glass and steel, my footsteps resonating through the marble-floored lobby. Claudia welcomed me with a confident handshake, her silver hair elegantly styled, her gaze both penetrating and analytical. She guided me to a conference room with a panoramic view of the sprawling cityscape below. "Your application shows resilience, Jasper," she remarked, examining HealthSync's portfolio. "Despite current challenges, I see tremendous promise. Let's transform it together." Her strategy was ambitious, proposing to integrate my technology into Nexus's extensive network of medical facilities and digital health platforms. I listened intently, my mind already conceptualizing potential improvements. We spent an hour discussing specifics, our shared vision reminiscent of my early Seattle aspirations. I departed feeling energized, the burden finally lifting. Then the elevator doors parted, and there she stood. Serena occupied the hallway, her designer blazer immaculate, clutching a collection of files. That signature half-smile played across her face, the one that concealed dangerous intent. "Jasper, what a coincidence finding you here. Your application could certainly benefit from my expertise." My chest constricted, every cell in my body reacting to her unexpected presence. This wasn't a chance encounter. She was employed here, her identification badge proudly displaying Director of Marketing. Claudia had kept this detail hidden, and now Serena was gliding toward the meeting room with unmistakable authority. I trailed behind, anxiety building as she joined our discussion. Claudia remained composed, motioning her to take a seat. Serena settled into her chair with calculated grace, legs crossed, her eyes fixed intently on mine. "I have ambitious visions for Health Sync," she declared, activating her tablet. "It's unrefined, but I can elevate it, implement it throughout Nexus's medical network." My teeth clenched involuntarily as she spoke, her words laden with superiority, laying claim to my creation as if it required her intervention. The discussion transformed into a strategic confrontation. Serena commanded attention, proposing extravagant marketing schemes that overshadowed HealthSync's core mission, reducing it to a superficial trend. I defended my position calmly, emphasizing how the application's straightforward design was its core strength. She'd respond with knowing smirks, throwing around marketing terminology about market reach and brand alignment, silently challenging my objections. Claudia observed silently, taking detailed notes during our verbal exchange. I recognized Serena's familiar tactics, her previous pattern of manipulating my concepts for personal gain. Midway through, she presented a prototype, my application's identity buried beneath Nexus corporate branding, her signature prominently featured on the document. "We're collaborating here, Jasper," she purred sweetly. "You'll appreciate this when success follows." My fingers curled into tight fists beneath the table, rage building as I witnessed her familiar pattern of manipulation unfold. I navigated the coastal highway back to San Francisco that evening, the serpentine road shrouded in darkness, my thoughts a chaotic storm of anger and apprehension. Serena wasn't merely an obstacle in my path. She was a calculated predator, hovering over my final opportunity with deadly precision. The meeting replayed in my mind, her confident demeanor eating away at my resolve, leaving me wondering about Claudia's true perspective. As I approached the Bay Bridge, my phone illuminated with Harper's name. Her message arrived like a bolt of lightning. "Stay strong. She has no power over you now." I tightened my grip on the steering wheel, letting her words anchor me, pulling me back from the edge of despair. Yet uncertainty persisted. Claudia had maintained her poker face, and Serena's influence at Nexus wielded a power I couldn't dismiss. Parking in my driveway, San Francisco's luminous skyline stretching before me, I remained motionless in the stillness. Something significant was unfolding at Nexus, transcending Serena's obvious power play. I sensed it instinctively, an undefined shift in the atmosphere. Whatever lay ahead, I knew confrontation was inevitable, and this time, I wouldn't yield. The journey from Los Angeles had left me shaken, Serena's presence lingering like a persistent shadow. Her smug expression and the branded mock-up of my app haunted my thoughts. Sleep proved elusive that night, the city's ambient noise accompanying my restless contemplation. Claudia's enigmatic silence during the meeting troubled me, her unwavering gaze a mystery I struggled to decipher. While pacing my apartment's creaking floors, an LA number flashed on my phone. Claudia's voice emerged, composed yet resolute. "Jasper, tomorrow, I need you here. We have private matters to address." My pulse quickened as I agreed, the line disconnecting abruptly. I seized my keys, sent Harper a quick message about my return, and embarked once again on the dark highway that stretched ahead like an endless tightrope. I reached Nexus headquarters at daybreak, watching the sun peek over the hillside, casting elongated shadows across the building's gleaming glass exterior. Claudia awaited in her executive suite, a corner office with panoramic windows that offered a sweeping view of the city below, spread out like an architect's ambitious blueprint. She gestured toward a plush leather chair, her pristine desk holding nothing but a solitary manila folder. I've been investigating, Jasper, she stated, her fingers drumming against the file. Serena's been careless. Her numbers don't add up, and her deals are questionable. There are inconsistencies in her background, too. HealthVantage's growth story isn't as pristine as she portrays. My heart skipped as everything suddenly aligned. She pushed a folder in my direction, revealing pages of correspondence and financial records, with critical issues marked in crimson ink. She's been leveraging your success far longer than you realize, Claudia continued, her words precise. The HealthSync project is yours now. Complete authority. Serena's finished. I gazed at her, processing the magnitude of her statement, experiencing a surge of both vindication and astonishment. This transcended mere business. It was justice served. Back in the Bay Area, I maintained strict discretion. Claudia emphasized confidentiality, her strategy dependent on blindsiding Serena. I played my part perfectly, attending Nexus meetings with practiced indifference, acknowledging Serena's directives about my application without reaction. She'd parade through the office, commanding attention, showcasing grandiose ideas. Unaware of her impending downfall, she'd study me intently, seeking weaknesses, but encountered only composure. During evening hours, Harper and I meticulously examined Claudia's findings, her analytical mind revealing connections I'd overlooked. Serena's deceptions at HealthVantage ran deep, manipulated statistics, dubious business associations, suppressed allegations of concept theft. My name surfaced in data correspondence, a presence she'd attempted to eliminate. Harper's expression hardened as we reviewed the evidence, her fingers intertwined with mine. It's over for her, Jasper. Victory is yours. Though I sensed the momentum shifting, the anticipation was excruciating, each day testing my self-control. The confrontation unfolded during an all-hands meeting, with Nexus's boardroom filled to capacity by executives and department heads. Serena commanded attention at the table's head, her tablet displaying a new HealthSync presentation, exuding excessive confidence. She transformed my application into an overloaded spectacle, filled with flashy visuals and superficial features, her signature prominent throughout. I observed quietly from the rear, composed, watching her performance. Claudia made her entrance last, her arrival hushing the room. She allowed Serena to conclude, then rose, her voice resonating clearly. We're finalizing HealthSync's integration today, she announced, pausing as attention shifted. Jasper Kane assumes leadership as project director, effective immediately. Whispers circulated through the audience. Serena's smile faltered, her grasp tightening on her device. Claudia continued, her voice glacial. Serena Voss is being relieved of her marketing responsibilities. We've discovered significant irregularities in her work that contradict Nexus's core principles. Her departure is effective immediately. The boardroom fell silent, all eyes turning toward Serena. The color vanished from her complexion, her mouth working soundlessly like a gasping fish. When she found her voice, it emerged high-pitched and unsteady. This is preposterous. I created this entire campaign. You can't possibly. Claudia lifted her hand, cutting off Serena's protests. The decision is final. Security will accompany you out. 2 security officers materialized at the doorway, their footsteps muffled against the carpeting. Serena's gaze locked onto mine, burning with hatred, but I held her stare without wavering. She snatched her bag, her heels striking a desperate tempo as she fled, the door crashing shut in her wake. I remained motionless as the room hummed with activity while Claudia detailed my responsibilities. Executives offered handshakes and congratulations, their voices blending together, but my thoughts fixated on Serena's departure, her fury crackling like electricity. My triumph felt unpolished, tinged with disquiet. Afterward, Claudia drew me aside, her features gentling. You've earned this position, Jasper. Her blindness to it was her own failing. I acknowledged her words, feeling grateful, yet somehow hollow. During my drive home, watching LA's skyline diminish in my mirror, I phoned Harper. Her delighted cheer at the news soothed the day's tension. Though Serena was gone, her influence neutralized, I couldn't dismiss a nagging sensation that something remained unresolved, an overlooked detail. The path forward belonged to me, but lingering shadows remained. The next 2 years transformed my life beyond recognition. Harper and I abandoned San Francisco's misty shores for LA's perpetual sunshine, her engagement ring catching light after our intimate beachside ceremony. Under my guidance, HealthSync flourished throughout Nexus's clinics, its impact measured and lives improved. A competing healthcare corporation offered a substantial acquisition deal, enough for lifetime security. I signed with steady hands, smiling as Harper's reassuring touch graced my shoulder. We marked the occasion at the Golden Tide in San Francisco, completing a perfect circle beneath the same crystal fixtures where Serena had once confronted me. The bay glittered beyond the windows, the evening air rich with possibility, and I felt complete, my troubled past fading beneath our clinking champagne glasses. Midway through our dessert, I spotted a familiar silhouette by the entrance. Serena shuffled inside, her once commanding presence diminished by time's passage. She guided an elderly man, frail in his rumpled suit, who relied heavily on both his cane and her support. Her appearance, a worn blazer and hastily arranged hair, was a stark departure from her former polished demeanor. Our gazes connected briefly, recognition flashing before her eyes hardened with resentment. After whispering to her companion, who acknowledged with a nod, they settled at a distant table. I observed her mechanical attention to him, adjusting his napkin with practiced but detached care. Harper's voice broke through my thoughts. "That's her, isn't it?" I confirmed with a nod, feeling old wounds stir beneath the surface. Serena cast another glance our way, her lips compressing, and I steeled myself for the inevitable confrontation. The moment arrived swiftly. Once her companion excused himself, she traversed the restaurant with measured steps, her gaze unwavering. Reaching our table, she stood with tightly clasped hands, speaking in controlled tones. Jasper, clearly thriving on others' sympathy, as usual. Though laced with spite, her words lacked their former potency, her confidence visibly fraying. Harper set aside her utensil, fixing Serena with an unflinching stare. "Everything he has, he's earned through merit, Serena. Perhaps you should consider that approach." Serena recoiled, color rising in her cheeks, momentarily revealing the exhaustion behind her facade. She retrieved a worn business card from her purse, sliding it across the table. "I'm consulting now. Major clients. We should discuss business sometime." I responded with pointed silence, leaving the card untouched as she withdrew to her table, her posture deflating. As we settled our bill, the manager discreetly delivered a note. "From the lady with the gentleman," he explained quietly. In the car, with Harper watching, I unfolded the message. Written in unsteady handwriting, it declared, "You think you've won, but I've got moves left. Watch yourself." My heart rate accelerated, an unsettling chill contradicting the evening's warmth. Harper studied the message, her brow furrowed. "She's posturing, Jasper. She's powerless now." Though I nodded in agreement. Unease lingered like a persistent shadow. Despite Serena's apparent decline, the note carried echoes of her former intensity, suggesting she hadn't completely surrendered. I pocketed the message as we drove homeward through the city's illuminated streets, her cryptic warning echoing in my thoughts. The following day, I delved into investigating her activities. After her dismissal, Nexus had effectively blacklisted her, with her reputation plummeting as murmurs of her questionable dealings circulated throughout the industry. Her career trajectory had become a downward spiral, each subsequent position diminishing in significance, her name gradually vanishing from industry coverage. The gentleman at the restaurant proved to be a fading investor, his wealth evaporating alongside his deteriorating health. She was now surviving on remnants of her former glory, a stark contrast to her previous status as an industry giant. I channeled the acquisition funds into establishing a Sacramento-based research initiative, paying tribute to Dad's legacy, and felt a burden dissolve. Serena's downfall was entirely self-inflicted, her relentless ambition constructing the very prison that confined her. I'd selected an alternative route, one founded on determination and loyalty, with Harper as my steadfast companion. Though that note continued to trouble me, an unresolved matter I couldn't dismiss, I chose to release its hold. The past only retained power if I allowed it to persist. Serena's message tormented my thoughts for days following our encounter at the Golden Tide, its harsh words persistently nagging at my consciousness. Though stored away in a drawer, its presence remained palpable, a subtle undercurrent of disquiet I couldn't disregard. Harper dismissed it with characteristic rationality as we arranged groceries in our Los Angeles kitchen. She's become irrelevant. Jasper. All empty threats. I managed to smile, drawing strength from her unwavering certainty, but my instincts signaled something amiss. Serena had always flourished in disorder, and even in her reduced circumstances, she'd managed to plant seeds of uncertainty. I required clarity. That night, well after hours, I powered up my computer, its screen illuminating the darkened room, and conducted a more thorough investigation, pursuing leads I'd previously overlooked. The investigation guided me to an obscure sector of the technology industry, a discussion board alive with speculation about her current venture. Her restaurant companion appeared in various threads, his name connected to a struggling biotech venture in San Diego. Discussion suggested a desperate strategic shift, a hastily developed application racing toward release, bearing unsettling similarities to HealthSync's prototype versions. My pulse quickened as I examined the interface screenshots, crude yet recognizable, a cobbled assemblage of my original programming overlaid with superficial modifications. A shiver coursed through me. She'd scavenged through our shared history, assembling fragments from our Seattle period, gambling on one final venture. I tracked the venture's financial trail, my hands unsteady, discovering her involvement concealed within documentation under a consultant's alias. The launch was scheduled for the following week, a subtle release designed to avoid detection. Sleep eluded me that night. Come morning, I contacted Claudia, maintaining composure as I presented the evidence. Her prolonged silence spoke volumes before she assured me she'd address the situation. Nexus still wielded considerable influence, and she guaranteed this threat would be neutralized before it gained traction. I restlessly traversed my living room, watching the Pacific shimmer through the windows, my anxiety mounting as time crawled forward. Around midday, my phone buzzed with breaking news. The startup had collapsed spectacularly, with investors withdrawing en masse after anonymous sources revealed technical inadequacies and financial irregularities. Serena's involvement emerged during the fallout, her pseudonym exposed, her professional reputation permanently tarnished. Sinking into my couch, I felt the tension dissolve, replaced by a subtle satisfaction. Her final attempt had crumbled into nothing. Later that day, Harper and I strolled along Santa Monica Pier, ocean breezes rustling our clothing, watching the Ferris wheel trace lazy patterns against the twilight sky. She intertwined her fingers with mine, her eyes reflecting the day's dying light. "You're finally free," she whispered with quiet conviction. I acknowledged her words with a nod, feeling Serena's influence diminishing with each forward step. The Sacramento Research Foundation had recently approved its inaugural initiative, a telehealth center serving rural communities, carefully incorporating elements of Dad's vision. I created something enduring, benefiting not just myself, but those who'd influenced my journey. Serena's downfall wasn't my triumph. It was the natural consequence of her choices. I'd chosen a different path, investing in integrity and hard work rather than shortcuts, and my current life with Harper and our shared purpose validated that decision. 7 days later, a weathered envelope appeared at our doorstep, lacking a return address, its postmark unclear. Inside lay a single sheet bearing Serena's erratic, faded handwriting. "You got lucky, Jasper. Save her while you can." No signature accompanied these words, her final attempt at intimidation already fading to insignificance. I shared it with Harper, whose laughter pierced the quiet. "Same old story," she remarked, discarding it with the junk mail. I watched it disappear among the discarded papers, a remnant of a concluded battle. Serena had become irrelevant, her threats hollow, her world contracting while mine expanded. Stepping outdoors, gazing at Los Angeles's illuminated horizon, I inhaled deeply. The past had turned to dust, and I was finished examining its remains. The realization struck me with crystal clarity. Life offers no guaranteed justice, but it rewards persistence and creation over destruction. Serena pursued power, and lost herself. I sought purpose and found my path. That was sufficient.